Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. My name is Jeff Speare with Ironside Group. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Ashwin Ratan, who was VP of Technology at Burn Bootcamp during a recent effort that we're going to talk about today. Good morning, Ashwin.
Good morning, Jeff. Thank you. I appreciate you guys taking the time out for me, and thank you for welcoming me on your program.
Always a pleasure to talk to you. We talked a little bit about sort of the data initiative, analytic initiative, as well as the mobile app. What did you do, or what were your priorities in preparing business stakeholders for that project and that journey?
We did quite a few things. It was a multifaceted project in my humble view, and the way I look at it is the business was very important to kind of giving us the buy-in, the stakeholding part, and say, okay, this is what, and bring him along with the journey, right? Is bringing him into the journey, making sure that they understand this is what we're delivering, and this is not just purely an IT project, right? This is a project which is going to serve our customers, the community, and our business, right? From a profit organizational standpoint, right? So that was one angle of it. The second was building a team. We didn't even have a team, right? So building a team, and I would say we built a team which was lean to meet these two parallel tracks, which was the BI track as well as the app track, and hit that timeline within the certain confined budgetary constraints that we had. And it was like we wanted to make sure we manage our costs, which was also very important to me, right? And so we wanted to have that versatile group of skill sets of people that we hired and we contracted, if you will, to kind of take us to this journey to get us to fruition.
If you had to name one or two of the biggest challenges in that process, especially in the bringing sort of the business stakeholders in, what would you say were the biggest, sort of challenges or roadblocks or stumbles that happened along the way?
Well, it's always a challenge in every project, right? As we know, right? And it's and if there's no challenge, I'll be surprised. That's how I see it. If it's just like even keel and everyone says we're good to go, then I'll be like, oh, there's a problem here, in my mind, especially. But the way I see it was like bringing them along and the educational of, okay, what are we trying to deliver? Because there were multiple parties, multiple people just started to come in new. Some were there already who were asking more questions, which was fantastic. And some were just learning through the journey, right? So we had to manage all those expectations from a behavioral standpoint, from a, that from that area, if you will.
Makes sense. And I'm thinking about, there were some people, I would say mostly people on the franchisee side, who were more knowledgeable about IT and about data, and of course they were very outspoken, and some of them were, somewhat doubtful about, about the effort in general, I guess I would say. How would you say, how would you say that was handled over the course of the project?
It's fantastic because I love that dynamic actually, because in that dynamic, you see some people who are really technical savvy as franchise partners, some people who are really business savvy and really, they really do not, for lack of a better term, care about the technology side of it, but they want to see the business outcome. So you see the dynamic of both these behaviors, which was really fascinating to me because this adds to the value of what we're going to deliver as a product, right? And we had multiple sessions, which you guys flew down as well, for these franchise partner meetings where we presented to them, this is what we're going to deliver, and they basically gave us our opinion, and we took them all in stride, right? Because feedback is one of the most important things when it comes to this kind of stuff. So you've got to really be open-minded for most part of it, in my mind, at least, even though you're delivering a technology solution, but it's not a technology solution, it's a consumer product. That's how I see it.
No, that's very true. Although I would like to ask a few questions about the technology side of it. So this was done in the cloud, and you guys more or less went from no cloud presence beyond using sort of SaaS solutions to having this this ODS and this mobile app all running in the cloud, and we did it with sort of the newer managed services or serverless technologies, so that it was trying to be sort of very scalable and lightweight. What was your experience with how well the solution performed?
I think we did a fine job in terms of a few bullets here. The first one is your organization, from a support standpoint, built out and kind of agreed with us on the SLAs that we defined, and we negotiated that with you guys. So that was fantastic. We get all the reporting from an audit perspective. Something goes wrong, so you guys have been proactive there. And so we know exactly which third-party person or company who kind of help us out when it comes to that standpoint. And then from an architecture perspective, you guys came in from an expertise standpoint, which obviously we did not have. And we appreciated that to bring us into the entire ODS, Cloud, Lambda, DynamoDB solution, if you will, and Snowflake, obviously.
Yep. And so, and this app, when it's fully live, is being used by your entire membership. So the volume got fairly high fairly quickly. How did you find it in terms of scalability and handling that volume?
Well, I won't give you specific numbers on this
Sure.
call.
Understood.
Just from a scale perspective, we had I look at the reports every morning, right? So I would say just from a booking perspective, we've had roughly 1.7 million bookings done in the last 90 days, if that gives you some context, right? And that's the happy part or the happy journey, if you will. From a real life perspective, when people have problems, we've had a few thousand tickets, but we only have around a couple of hundred right now open. So I don't know if that gives you some kind of context from a ratio standpoint, from a customer delight to a customer undelight standpoint.
That's a very good ratio. And what about the cost effectiveness side? Is because one of the concerns when people go to the cloud is that costs are sort of going to go out of control. How have you found that?
Well, so far we've been within the scale. When we defined the project with you guys, from an Ironside perspective, obviously we projected it out to a maximum capacity from what we thought with the numbers that we knew from a growth standpoint and a velocity perspective, right? And I think they're still within scale right now, but I think as we grow and we continue to grow, this will continue to scale. And you guys have been really supportive with your AWS partners to kind of keep that in check for us. So we appreciate that relationship with you.
Oh, it's been our pleasure. It's been a wonderful project to work on. So looking forward to more. And what kind of, if you were going to summarize, what benefits have you seen, or sorry, what benefits have your members seen, do you think, from having this mobile application?
Well, I normally look at reviews once in a while on the App Store, which basically tells you the right and wrong when people complain, when people say good things. So it's always going to be mixed bag. Doesn't matter what app you roll out. It could be any app out there in the store, right? But when I look at some reviews which talk about the positive aspects of it, they say it's very easy to use, very intuitive. I've got all my data where I need right now from at least what you released for MVP. I mean, that's the short and long of it from what I see. But and I pay a lot more attention to when people start complaining. That's how my head rolls.
That's fair. And I know one of the things that you introduced with the mobile app was an entirely new offering of on-demand video. How did you find integrating that into the app, both from a business and from a technology perspective?
There were certain challenges in the beginning. We addressed them right away before we launched, which was fantastic because we had you guys as well as we had another security team, which basically helped us out there. And, we had the company that helped us with integrating Burn on Demand, as we called our platform, kind of like, chiming in, being proactive to solve for it from a technology standpoint. So without going into specific details there again, it was very proactive, the approach in my mind. And from a business perspective, I think we're still working through the adoption cycle, right? And so we're growing. I look at the numbers every day. And so as long as we continue to grow, which is a fantastic sign where people are signing in, whether they're stuck to, whether they're located with a physical brick and mortar store, or they're in a white space, if you will, which basically there's no gym to go to, and all they have is Burn on Demand. So we see that market growing as well, and we are hoping it'll continue to grow through 2024 and 2025.
Excellent. You talked about, you said there were a few initial challenges. Could you talk a little more about them and how you overcame them?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the couple of challenges we had from a technical standpoint was making sure that the integration worked with Burn on Demand. And so obviously with your expertise and with our development team and our Burn on Demand partners, we came to get that solved. And so I would just leave it at that at that point. And then from a business standpoint is the learning curve on getting those videos that we have today that the members can see is the whole educational cycle and the configuration of it and who's going to own it and accountability and all of that was kind of like, getting that into a box, if you will, and
Mm.
getting people assigned to it, which is it's normal course of any project, right? Is to make sure that the right people are there assigned to the right tasks, and you're there to support, if you will.
Excellent. Thank you. On the ODS side, what have you seen in terms of time savings? In terms of are people relying on automation and saving a lot of time? What benefits have you seen in that area?
I have heard of no complaints so far since we've launched. Um, and I see the data that what we aligned on from a business and a commercial standpoint is to make sure that we're not going to provide real-time data, right? We're only going to give data once a day. And you guys do a fantastic job in making sure that it refreshes up by 6 o'clock, which I'm diligent to watch that every morning. And so I see all the reports being refreshed every day. And so I think from my perspective, I have not seen any tickets or any issues or any complaints from anyone unless someone else tells me that.
Excellent. And so both people within Burn headquarters as well as franchise partners are using this information.
I believe so.
Okay. And has it allowed you to do analysis or look at data that you weren't looking at before?
For the specific reports that we built together. That's correct.
Yep. Okay. And have you found it beneficial to be able to bring together data from different SaaS systems?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no two questions about that, Jeff. I mean, look at it from a technical perspective or a business perspective, right? You got a one box stop, right? And everything is in that box, and you can do what you want with that data, as we spoke before, right? So tomorrow, if you want to build another card or another slice or another portal or a portlet or whatever it may be, you have the information there. So you got the architecture and the bones there. Now it's just a matter of, okay, which other system you want to bring in and what are the rules and what is the data that you want to bring in. That's the conversation, which is much more easier than the build itself that what we went through.
Yes, it was definitely quite a journey. What would you say the experience was like in terms of feedback on the ODS and the accompanying dashboards, sort of, after it all went live in October of 2023?
Well, we had a little bit of quirks, as we know, like any project, and we had always expected that, and that's what we were wanting is feedback, right? We went through the UAD cycle, we got some feedback, but we both knew that when we get to production, now people are going to look at these reports, and now they're actually going to look at the real data, right? So we went through that, and you guys supported us through our journey from a support perspective on answering questions, fixing small issues, whatever they were, and supporting our customers, which are our franchise partners and our business here at Burn. So I appreciate that support you give us.
And we appreciated giving it. What would you say was from an ODS perspective? Was it up and running right away at go live? Did it take some time to stabilize? Like, how long would you say it was before people were sort of using it on a regular basis?
It was up and live the minute we went live, right? The stabilization question comes back to the earlier conversation we just had in terms of people starting to look at their reports and ask those questions in terms of, hey, you know what? This doesn't match to what I have now. And that's where you guys came with a quick responsiveness in terms of supporting those customers abroad, right? So as far as from my view, the way I look at it, as I said, yep, we went live the minute we said we're going to go live. Stabilization was just part of the journey.
So if and I mean, as you know, this happened rather a lot. A franchise partner or someone at headquarters says, "Hey, I'm looking in the system and it says the value as metric is this, and I'm looking at your report and it says the metric is this and it's different. What's going on?" How do you resolve that?
Well, the first thing what you guys did and what we did as a team was build a data dictionary, right? So that's your source of truth in terms of understanding what the factual information of each of your variables of the information in the reports are, right? And that's what we had aligned on as a business, right? So if that still doesn't work or doesn't make sense, then that's where you guys came in and give the education in terms of this is where that information is coming from. This is what the facts are, and that's what it is. And if they had any questions, which I saw not many, to be honest with you, But that's where you guys came in and gave quick responsiveness in terms of, supporting those customers. Because if they don't understand what the dictionary that we built, then we obviously have to be that support, right?
I think, yeah, I mean, I would agree that I think having a defined dictionary and having a dictionary and having the same message so everyone knows sort of what the starting point is was definitely important. Well, so yeah, so thank you, Ashwin, for joining me today. And everyone, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thanks very much.
Thank you.